We were pretty famous back in high school. Trust us!
Had a whole future ahead of us, but now we suck.
All that potential now is flowing in the aqueducts.
Through the sands of time, many did forget.
But now our time has come to resurrect. But a podcast?
Sad I know, but can you blame us?
We are desperate to be much more than high school famous.
Of the hour. Wait, no.
Oh, I see.
Of the
what you
day.
mean. I'm like,
We can't be at 4:25 of the hour. That doesn't make sense.
that can. Yeah, you're right. No, I thought you meant that we had already been recording for 4 minutes 25 seconds, and I was like, no, we haven't. So I don't know what you're talking about.
No.
So
yeah,
I had a water bottle. I thought I brought up here with my stuff, but it must be downstairs still. Oh, good for you.
I got
good
it.
for you
I
with
took
your
it.
water bottle.
I took it.
You have it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I already drank half of it before you grabbed it, so enjoy my backwash.
Yeah, I love your sloppy seconds.
Enjoy my backwash.
Maybe don't drink like that. Maybe don't drink like a fucking maniac who spits half of his water back into his bottle.
I didn't say 50% of it was backwash. I just said that there was some backwash in there. And that's
Don't drink in a way that gives it backwash.
It is not unavoidable. You can just drink in a way so that there is no backwash, but I don't think I was consciously doing that because I didn't expect my water bottle to be stolen by someone in another state.
Well, that was your first mistake.
And
actually, your first mistake was the backwash. Second mistake was getting the water stolen from you.
So how many mistakes am I at so far? 425?
No, 427 now.
But so I made two new mistakes since we started talking about the two mistakes.
Yeah, I don't have time to go over them all. That's not what this episode's going to be about.
Well, it could become that. You know, we're pretty loosey-goosey here over at High School Famous. We're not beholden to a particular format or a structure. We can kind of just do whatever we want.
This is not the time of the year to be talking about loosey-gooseys.
This is the time of the year to talk about tight turkeys.
Exactly.
Hey, everyone. This is Thanksgiving week. You will hear this. Well, I should say it drops 2 days before what some dub as Turkey Day. Mm-hmm. But that's even
here
bigger,
in the States.
that's even more salt in the wound for old turkeys, don't you think? Because to say Thanksgiving doesn't 100% guarantee that there will be any turkeys consumed.
Right.
It kind of leaves it open to interpretation, or like you could have ham, or you could have
anything
chicken.
You want.
But to call it Turkey Day is basically to put a death sentence on the turkeys.
Right. I mean, here's the thing.
Both jive and otherwise.
Whether you choose to have turkey for Thanksgiving or not, those turkeys are already they're going to be dead.
They are going to be in the grocery stores already.
Yep. There's going to be a set number of turkeys that get murdered every year for our consumption, whether we choose to eat them or not. So
that, you can say that. And of course, on a particular year, if there is a huge shift in the amount of turkeys that are consumed, as in it's greatly reduced. People are like, you know what? We're done being cruel to turkeys. Mm-hmm. We're done eating them for Thanksgiving. Yes, that exact year will not affect turkey killing for food. If this trend continues over a couple of years, then I think the market will respond and reduce the amount of turkeys set to slaughter for the grocery stores, because they have to, they want to meet the actual demand and not overproduce turkeys.
Yeah. And then that'll be the year that everybody's like, oh no, we're back on turkey. And then there's like the turkey prices are going to skyrocket because there wasn't enough turkey for the demand.
Yeah. And so
people are going to be throwing turkeys on fucking eBay for crazy prices.
Well, I mean, then those that provide turkeys win. They make a killing off of much smaller amount of product that year.
Make a killing is an interesting turn of phrase for that.
They perform a killing. Is that better?
Well, they make a killing in several ways.
Right, but I'm just saying perform a killing as a euphemism for making money, like a lot of money.
Right.
Is that a better way to phrase it than make a killing? Because you're not really making a killing.
Yeah.
You think you like I said, you perform a killing, or you enact a killing, maybe? You could make a killing happen.
Yeah.
You could will a killing to be. You could bring a killing to completion. You could bring a killing to climax, is what I'm saying.
Right.
Turkey-wise, stuffing.
Turkey killing.
Shall we do a dad joke?
I was about to say.
Hey, this kind of falls in line with your fancy kickball league you're in.
I'm not.
It's over?
Oh, we fucking...
You
Yes.
took the championship.
No, so it's definitely over, but we hadn't gone to any games since I had last talked to you about it.
Why?
So
what happened?
Nobody did. We just all basically, like, it got to the point where not enough people could go anymore, and then a bunch of people that were playing ended up getting laid off. So everybody just stopped going.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, it's fine. My foot still hasn't fully recovered from it, so.
What does this mean for the bowling league?
I haven't heard anything about any new thing happening, so.
And how will your foot affect your ability to bowl?
Not at all.
Not at all? You don't use your feet?
I mean, not in a way that would affect it.
Not in a way that I would apply weight to it, approaching
applying normal weight throughout the day to my foot is fine, but like doing running and stuff like that would be a problem.
In this league, you are required to kick the bowling ball down the lane.
That's not true.
Well, it's the most effective way to ensure
It's
the most amount of pin scatter.
also not true.
I've heard it.
You've bowled before.
Me uncle told me. So anyway, back to adults playing kids games. I'm having trouble organizing a hide and seek league because good players are hard to find.
I mean, we can take that a couple of different ways.
It's funny because it's true.
Yeah, it could be true in two different ways though. One, it's saying that nobody's good at playing hide and seek. And two, it's saying that people are so good at hide and seek that you can never find them while playing.
Yeah, the players that are good are hard to find to ask them if they want to play for your league.
Then, interesting. It's because it's kind of conflicts with itself.
You want to hear an example of a joke where I feel they just they thought of this as a punchline, and so they just forced a very specific setup in order for the punchline to work. I'm thinking of a career change where I estimate crowd sizes at different outdoor events. I wonder how many people are in that field.
That doesn't really work then, though.
What do you mean?
Because they want to have a job where they estimate specific.
Yeah, they estimate crowd sizes at different outdoor events.
But then they say, "I wonder how many people are in that field." That's not what you would do in that job. You would make an estimate. You wouldn't sit and wonder how many people it is. You'd estimate how many people it is.
Maybe they're talking about on the way to the event. Like, I wonder how many people are going to be in that field today. As soon as I get there, you can be sure I'm going to estimate. But as of right now, until I can see it for myself, I'm just going to wonder.
I mean, you could estimate ahead of time too. It doesn't matter. You don't have to see the crowd to estimate how many people are going to be in it.
That's a guesstimate. I'm
But
going to
still,
say
it's the same thing.
6,000.
Yeah, and you may or may not be right, and it wouldn't matter because all your job is just to estimate.
That's the great thing about this job.
Exactly.
I don't have to be right.
Yeah, you don't have to be anywhere close. You don't have to ever leave. You don't even have to get up in the morning to do your job. You can just literally make up a number and then put it down.
It's only for reporting purposes because it's not like you're trying to estimate how many people might come so that you can plan for like vendors and whatnot and having a good supply of food and water, for example. Or if someone's selling T-shirts, I wonder how many T-shirts we should bring. Based on the estimate of 4,000, let's bring 4,000 shirts. You know what I mean?
Right.
But this is like saying,
well,
hey,
even
you know
then,
what?
that'd be ridiculous. Even if you estimate, if you're bringing shirts to sell, right?
Yeah.
You estimate that there might be 4,000 people showing up to that thing. You do not bring 4,000 shirts because there's no way you're going to sell a shirt to every single person that comes there. So you'd still bring probably less than half. Why
do you keep using the word estimate?
Because it's the same thing as saying fucking any other way to express that word.
Well, no. Well, you would say estimate.
I know, but it's semantics at this point.
It's semantics.
It's just
It's same
pronunciation, and
antics.
it's the same fucking word.
It's pronunciation.
There's certain times when we sit here and record that you make it very difficult for me to want to do this.
You know what? Correct pronunciation, Matt, is an ability I have, and it is an ability that I am very thankful for, I must say.
Well, that makes one person in this podcast thankful for that.
Do you have anything that you are thankful for?
Currently?
I can see it's not my ability to correctly pronunciate things.
I can't think of a single thing right now that I'm thankful for.
All right. That's unfortunate.
I don't know. Is it?
I'm thankful for Ready Whip.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, nothing like significantly thankful for, like, that's like outside of the normal of just like, I'm thankful to be alive.
I'm thankful for air.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't know. I will be thankful when the holiday season is over. I fucking hate the holiday season. So
I'm thankful that I found a nearly identical place to live that is a good amount cheaper than what I am paying and what I would have been paying had I renewed where I am.
How far away do you have to move?
One building.
Hold on. What? So it's still in the same complex?
Correct. It's the same complex.
Same size of place and everything?
Technically, according to the website, it is slightly larger.
Okay. You need to explain.
So apartment complexes like to do this thing where they quote unquote update a unit, as in give it a shiny new set of cabinet doors and countertops and things like that. And that justifies them raising the price by a couple $100 a month.
Right.
So I merely am switching down to a unit that has not yet been updated. So it doesn't have a brand new refrigerator and brand new granite countertops and different cabinet doors. So yes, the layout is nearly the same. Like it says, the square footage is actually slightly more than the unit I'm in. And based on what I was going to be paying if I renewed my lease at this unit, I'll be paying $282 less per month to live there.
Interesting.
So I would say I'm thankful for that. And it seems like now this time of year is kind of prime time moving for anyone who's looking around because prices are on the lower end.
Okay.
So I think this will put me on a new renewal cycle where it's not toward the end of January anymore. It's going to be, because I'm going to do an 11th month lease. So that means it'll be like moving out November 1st if I want to leave.
Okay.
And so that, I think, leaves me with much more options anywhere else before prices start to climb again. So it's just a win-win for old Shawnee boy.
Interesting. But you have to move all your shit, which is annoying.
But yes, that's true. I have to move, which no one likes doing. I have enlisted some help for like the large furniture items. But the one thing that's nice is the move-in date will be December 1st, which is a Friday. And I don't need to return my keys for this place until Monday. So I can casually over the whole weekend move like my boxed up stuff if I want.
That's nice. So it's not all everything out, everything in situation.
Yes. So that's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to have on that Saturday, I'll have a couple people come by to help just bring over the stuff that one person can't carry. And I'm sure we'll also just tackle some boxes / bins while we're at it. But we don't have to finish it all, which is nice.
Nice.
Yep.
Exciting.
Yeah. Plus, I get to eat some dead turkey on Thursday.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Do you have like a big Thanksgiving plans, or are you just doing your own thing?
I'm just going to be here. My son will be with me, and I'm getting from Hy-Vee, I'm getting a little Thanksgiving dinner for two all set up. So we'll just graze on that.
Nice. Any plans? Just gonna hang out, watch some flicks or something?
Yeah, we'll just chill out. it would probably be a good idea to work on some packing stuff, because in a week from that, like, I have next weekend, and then the following weekend is I move. So it's
Right.
going to come lightning quick. And I had kept a bunch of the boxes I used from when I moved here, all just broken down and all in my storage locker. But that thing stinks like crazy. And cardboard absorbs stink.
Oh, yeah.
And so I brought the boxes in, and I had my son like pack a couple things up in some of the boxes, and I'm like, these smell awful. Get your stuff out of these boxes. I'm not going to use any of these boxes. So I planned to have started already,
Right.
but that little hiccup has caused me to delay my beginning of packing. So now I think it's smarter to probably pick up some just large bins that are made of plastic that won't necessarily absorb any odor, and also will definitely help block it out from anything that's inside the bins.
Right.
So yeah, that's what I've been up to lately.
Fantastic. Well, Sean, speaking of Thanksgiving, let's tell some stories. Some great. I'm by the way, I'm the best at transitions.
Good.
Let's tell some Thanksgiving stories. Some internet Thanksgiving stories as we do.
These aren't our own stories.
These will not be our own stories. I mean, we can pretend like they are. We can start over. No, it's not. So I think this is what we did last year too. We just read some Thanksgiving horror stories, or just crazy Thanksgiving stories,
embarrassing Thanksgiving stories, or something like that.
Yeah. So I found another list, as there tend to be lists and lists and lists of things. I contemplated us talking about the actual first Thanksgiving, and then like what came of that, which turns into basically a history horror story.
Lesson.
More of a history horror story of how absolutely awful that ended up all turning out. But if you live in America, you already kind of know. And we like to keep things slightly more lighthearted here, or at least we like to make fun of others who have had shitty experiences on the small scale versus the large scale.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna read some stories here and just have a good old time, have a good old Thanksgiving time. How's that sound?
Yeah, and if you want to recall some of these stories, or read some of these stories you've heard to your family on Thanksgiving, like what a better place. There's no better place to do it.
True.
That way you could also try to actively avoid a similar situation from happening to you.
Yeah, see, that's the best thing. If anything, you can take these stories we're about to tell you and you can learn from them so that you don't have to make those same mistakes. So let's just get into it, shall we?
Cool. Should I do the first story?
Do you want to do the first one, or I have read that one? I can.
Then you should
Okay.
Then you should read it to me, because there won't be much of you reacting to the story you've already read. Correct?
This is true. All right. One glorious Thanksgiving, my mom and aunt decided to try edibles. Naturally, they made the rookie mistake of eating another after only 15 minutes because they're not doing anything. Fast forward 2 hours, and my mom is in full panic mode about whether or not the local ducks she feeds will starve overnight, because there's no way she, in any fit state, because there's no. Now I lost my spot.
I think it's supposed to say this.
There's no way she's in any fit state to go out and feed them. That's what it actually states, and I just couldn't read that properly.
Right. I think it says that.
Yep. And my aunt is waking my uncle up every half hour and asking him to tell her whether or not she's still breathing.
The end.
That was that story.
I love when stories switch tenses. They're telling a story
you've
that already
mentioned that
happened,
before.
but then they talk about it as though it is present tense.
Well, I think the person telling the story was past tensing it, but when he was talking about what the people were saying or doing, that was present tense for the moment they were in.
Sure, I guess.
It's complicated. You wouldn't get it. You're not a writer.
I guess so. All right. Let's go on to a surely a much better story. My dad bought a Ron Popeil set it and forget it rotisserie oven one year just so he could make our Thanksgiving turkey that way. He got so excited and invited the whole family over, of course. But in his excitement, he forgot the weight limit of what can be cooked in one of those things.
Oh, no.
And he set the entire bird on fire. To make things worse, the only restaurant in town, in quotes, that wasn't closed was a 7-Eleven. That was the year my entire extended family had lukewarm hot dogs and microwave burritos for Thanksgiving because you can't take any of that home and heat it up.
Well, and here's so couple of things. 7-Eleven's not actually a restaurant for anybody.
That's why it
who
was in
doesn't know what a
quotes.
7-Eleven is.
I think that's why it was in quotes.
But also, only the turkey was wrecked.
Yeah, I know. They could have salvaged.
I'm assuming what the hot dogs and the microwave burritos were the protein.
That or he tried to put everything inside the rotisserie.
Maybe. Yeah, I guess maybe the stuffing also got ruined.
Yeah, mashed potatoes were in there. The pumpkin pie.
I mean, here's the thing. I think anybody in their right mind who has any for anybody who actually knows about the set it and forget it rotisserie oven, understands that thing's not big enough to do a turkey. It's meant for a chicken at best. They're like, for people who remember that thing, saw those infomercials back in the day. For people who understand what infomercials are, I'm not sure what the age group of our listeners are, but I don't think a turkey would fit in that thing for one.
No, you are doing, like you said, you know what? Maybe they could hold 2 chickens. I don't remember.
Maybe
a full-on turkey. I doubt it.
And I don't know. Like, the thing is like with a turkey, there's not, once it's in the oven, there's not a whole lot you have to do other than occasionally baste it. So the whole set it and forget it thing, it's just like, that seems like an unnecessary thing to buy when cooking a turkey anyways. Because,
I don't remember. Did this significantly speed up the cooking process?
I believe it was supposed to cook a little faster. I mean, it makes sense. It's like a smaller, because, an oven's a big space. Yeah. So I think maybe because the heat is in less of a space, it maybe will cook it a little faster because you're not heating up an entire oven. But I don't know. Turkey's not that crazy when it comes. It takes a while to cook it, yes. But that's why people start cooking turkeys early in the morning, because they take 4 or 5 hours to cook.
Yeah, but this is what Dad did not want to do this year. He just wanted to set it and forget it. He didn't want to have to get up.
I don't know how much you can just forget it with those things. I've never cooked with one. Don't know. I was too young to by the time I was seeing those infomercials, I don't think I had ever cooked food yet at that point. So I had no concept of how long it takes to cook anything.
I'm sure they wouldn't say set it and forget it if you could not forget it. If you had to still tend to it, because then the catchy term would have been set it and tend to it periodically until it's done.
I guess.
Yeah, that's what would have happened. That's what they would have said. But you are allowed to forget it. No, they might have come up with something a little more catchy, or just scrap the product altogether because they're like, this is just a smaller oven. It doesn't increase the cooking time, and you don't have the luxury of forgetting it.
Well, yeah, it's literally just a toaster oven, but with a rotisserie in it.
Yeah, that's all it is.
That's all it is.
Remember taking that? It was like that double skewer piece that you would connect with the 2 gears on the ends, and then you'd dump that inside to in the thing, and then Did you remember that? Do you remember
I
that?
have no idea if you're making a joke or if this is a real thing you're trying to remind me of that I have no idea of.
This is how you put it in this. What is that really called? It's not called the set it and forget it, was it?
No, I don't know. I don't remember what it's called.
I think let's just call it the rotisserie machine.
Yeah, it's the Rompopeel rotisserie oven or some shit.
Yeah, but you had these two circular metal plates on either end, and those were connected by two metal skewers.
Mm-hmm.
So you would take the skewers, you would take the whole apparatus out, you would remove one of the ends, then you would take the turkey or chicken, whatever you're making, and stab the skewers through it.
Mm-hmm.
Then you would cap it off at the other end with the other metal plate piece, and then you would load that into the rotisserie machine, and that's what would spin the burn on, Yeah, anyway, I was just asking if you remembered that part, and you didn't.
I know. It's the Ronco series rotisserie oven.
Of course.
You can buy it at Bed Bath & Beyond for $145. They still sell them.
Did he pass away, or did he just retire?
He died on July 28th of 2021.
Okay, all right.
So very recently. He was 86.
R.I.P. RP. What was his middle initial?
M.
Oh, dang it.
Ronald Martin Popeil.
I really wish it started with an I. So R.I.P. RMP.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Didn't think I'd be talking about Ron Popeil today.
Why not? The second story involved his product.
Well, I didn't know that. I think we know what the Lord and Savior this episode is.
I won't know until Tuesday.
Well, story 3. During a childhood Thanksgiving, you guys remember what those are, right? When you have one of those childhood Thanksgivings. My mom's candles caught the kitchen curtains and some decorative greenery on fire. My sisters, my cousin, and I were at the kids' table in the kitchen while the adults were in the dining room. So no one of significance noticed anything except me. Apparently
the kids aren't significant?
I guess not. Before we started eating, my mom threatened us with pain of death if we annoyed the adults. If we annoyed the adults during dinner. So when you're dead,
you no longer feel pain. So the pain of death is nothing.
Right.
Death is the absence of pain.
So when the fire got out of hand, I quietly walked to the dining room and stood silently for a minute or two until someone noticed me. Only then did I politely say, "Sorry, but the kitchen's on fire." My mom still gives me grief about my prioritizing politeness over sense.
You threatened to kill him.
Yeah, you don't get to give anybody grief about prioritizing politeness over anything.
Well, and she, you know what? I'm on her side because all she said was if he, quote, annoyed the adults. I'm pretty sure telling them the kitchen that being on fire is not something that would annoy them. So
I don't know.
He should have not felt any hesitation to deliver this news.
I would find it pretty annoying if somebody told me my kitchen was on fire.
So you would be annoyed by the person?
I'd be annoyed in general. Yes. I would be generally annoyed. So therefore, that would still count.
So, but the cause of the annoyance is the kitchen being on fire.
Yes.
And not the behavior of the person delivering the news to you. So,
yeah, so I guess
the person delivering the news should have no fear. Should have no fear of the pain of death.
Well, they apparently didn't if they sat there for quite a while, continuing to eat while the kitchen was on fire.
If the kitchen's on fire and the guy's standing there for a couple minutes, no one is going to smell any of this?
Well, and then the other kids aren't going to also, like, at some point panic. Like,
freak out?
Yeah.
Well, they're not significant.
That's true.
So they're either not going to notice.
Nobody cares if they die.
Or no one's going to notice them panicking because of how insignificant they are.
Right. So then the only person who would be a potential annoyance would be this person.
Right.
Because if nobody else is significant enough to notice, then there's no potential for them to annoy anyone.
Look, what we can take away from this story is that the mother is abusive. And so the child is fearing delivering a message so important because the backlash he could receive is that terrifying. It's probably worse than being burned alive.
Well, that's the thing, right? Is that this kid was so afraid to bring this up, and then in the end, still got scolded for then bringing it up, but not timely enough. So it's like there was no win-win for this person, no matter what. So this parent sucks either way.
Yeah, this kid they need to call CPS and get him hauled off to some other caring adult figures.
Mm-hmm. Where's the dad during all of this?
Some guardians. He left her.
Probably. I mean, I guess.
Yeah, he's probably not in the picture anymore. He's from Story 2.
Oh.
So he's off. He's in charge of making his own Thanksgiving dinner because he's not married anymore. And so he's using the Ron Popeil rotisserie machine. The Ronco.
He set it and forget it to his marriage.
Yeah, he set his marriage and then forgot it.
Mm.
And then it was too heavy for the machine.
That's what caused the fire. He had his own fire.
Yeah.
The kids wouldn't have been safe at either of the houses.
And so now every woman he gets together with in the future is just going to be stuck with lukewarm hot dogs.
Is that a sexual thing?
Because of his past mistakes. He needs therapy.
I feel like that was a sexual thing.
This is not a window into my real life.
He has a lukewarm hot dog.
Oh my goodness. My grandpa and grandma got divorced.
What?
And my grandpa eventually remarried. We've moved on to story 4. One Thanksgiving during the "What are you most thankful for" portion of the dinner. Hey, we covered that. My not-so-well grandpa stood up and declared that he regretted letting my grandma divorce him and that it was, quote, the biggest mistake, end quote, of his life right in front of his new wife. Well,
wow.
This is not going to turn out well for Gramps. What happened next? What did this outburst of drama culminate with? A 3-way. I mean, actually, nothing. He sat back down. His old wife chuckled nervously, and we continued with the speeches. Basically, we all tried to act like it didn't happen. Healthy.
I like how it says his old wife chuckled.
Right.
This is his new wife.
But the old wife is the one that chuckled nervously.
Yeah.
I'm sure the new wife just sat there.
Why was the old wife also there?
Good question, because it was a big family gathering, and
that's what I'm wondering, if that literally did mean like his ex-wife, or if it just meant like if they were just saying like his new wife, who was also old, chuckled. Like
that's a weird thing.
It makes me think that that both of his ex-wife and his new wife were both there, which I guess is probably fine if you think about like, oh, it's grandma and grandpa, like they're gonna both be at Thanksgiving for the kids and stuff.
I think that both the ex-wife and the current wife were there because if you're gonna stand up and express that you regret getting divorced, why would you not do it in? But why would you? Yes, but so why would you not do that in front of the person who you let divorce you?
I guess it's really more of like a non sequitur if he just brings it up not in her presence whatsoever.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like, wow, what a dick thing to do, Carl.
No, that would be even worse than what he did.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
I like the regretted letting my grandmother divorce him.
I know.
You just let somebody divorce you like that. Like, that's not how divorces work.
No, it isn't. And
all right, I'll allow it.
Yeah, go ahead. Well, you can you can sort of do that. If you fight it, you can avoid signing any papers and whatnot, and that would just cause a lot of problems. But maybe what he means is he regrets not fighting to save the marriage and just letting the divorce happen. He sort of threw in the towel. Good question.
And he's like, I'm going to need that towel.
I'm sure that
come into anymore.
Lukewarm hot dogs. I'm sure that the reason that everyone was just sort of trying to avoid or ignoring that it happened is just to get through that portion of the dinner and then eat dinner. But I'm sure there were some heated discussions to follow.
Possibly. And it's like, I like how like they continued with the speeches. Like, what do you say after that? I mean, nothing. I guess anything you say that you're thankful for at that point, nobody's listening.
Well,
nobody
the good
actually
thing is,
cares what you have to say at that point.
The good thing is it's not necessarily a type of thing where you like try to top the person that came before you or that went before you.
Right.
So what if you're stuck? I mean, people say like really generic stuff of these things anyway. Oh, I'm thankful for my family. I'm thankful for my job. I'm thankful for having a roof over my head.
Also, weird time to bring up things you're most thankful for, Grandpa, when you literally brought up something you're completely not thankful for.
You know what, Grandpa? You need to be on some sort of pills.
It's literally like the opposite.
Yeah, he just discussed his biggest regret.
Yeah.
Which should have been, I don't think he understood the purpose of the speeches. I think he's old, confused grandpa.
Yeah, I think we can't really blame him for his outbursts. I don't think he's in the right right state of mind right for that situation.
The crazy part is he was never married.
Yeah, I think what we need to say is we need to be like, oh, we're thankful that, Grandpa's still with us despite his dementia.
Right. Yeah, Grandpa, he still gets to enjoy time with his family despite the fact that he's lost most of his faculties.
Yeah.
And we should appreciate the time we have with him because he doesn't have a lot of time left.
Yeah, it's very different from a story I believe we read last year, or I don't know if it was last Thanksgiving, or we read a story about somebody, I think it was last Thanksgiving, somebody saying they were thankful for their grandma who was in the other room already dead in a chair.
Yes. Yes, I remember that.
I laugh at that and it's terrible.
They were thankful that grandma was still with them.
Yeah.
And grandma
she was dead in the chair.
Had since passed in the rocking chair. All right. Terrible.
Next story. A family friend who happened to be lesbian, I hope that has bearing on the story, thought it would be a good idea to carry at least 20 plates across the living room before Thanksgiving dinner. Like, what, as like a magic trick? Like, what the fuck?
Oh, she balanced them on her head.
Yeah. In a shocking surprise to absolutely no one, she dropped all of the plates onto the floor. Then my grandfather, who barely knows this friend, says the most infamous words in our family's history. You know those lesbians, slippery fingers.
Yeah, because they're fingering women all the time.
Yep.
That's what he meant.
I think we all understood what he was trying to say.
I was hoping that maybe she was trying to carry the plates across the room, like balancing on her head, to show that lesbians are level-headed, and then Grandpa would have some sort of comment on that.
Maybe.
Would have been less sexual.
Yeah.
For the children. We have to think about the children. Anything more to add to story number 5?
No, I think you put the cap on that one very nicely.
Is he suggesting that like all of their fingers are slippery? Not just like a couple, maybe 3.
3 on one hand or 3 in total?
Yeah, like really. Is he suggesting that they don't wash their hands? Grandpa, are you suggesting lesbians don't wash their hands?
It's the classic lesbian stereotype. They don't wash their hands.
But then how are they so good at softball? Your face.
I'm just letting you continue to dig.
Look, I'm not saying that's true. I'm just saying this is a man who would think
You're just saying.
I'm just saying.
Oh, you're saying he would say that.
Yeah, he would say that.
Gotcha.
Old grandpa. Old discriminatory
dirty
grandpa. Yeah.
ODG, they call him.
R.I.P. R.I.P. ODG.
All right, next story.
All right, I'll read this one. My mom always has a specific menu planned out for the holidays, and every year my grandmother brings a not very good mac and cheese, that my mom never asks her to bring. One year, my grandmother brought her mac and cheese, per usual, But my mom refused to bake it or even serve it. She kept saying, we already have a
Well, I
cheesy
hope so.
carb.
I hope she
What?
refused to serve it if she refused to bake it.
Yeah, they go one and the same.
Yeah.
I will not bake it, Mom, but I will serve it to you. We already have a cheesy carb and tried to say we didn't have enough oven space, even though we had an entire second oven that wasn't being used.
Brag.
Oh, Mom. It was super awkward. My grandmother never even mentioned the dish's absence at the meal.
Well, then why was it super awkward?
I don't know.
It's only super
Maybe
awkward in
just-
that sense if you let it be.
Maybe just the discussion about refusing to bake it and serve it, lying about the fact that they lack oven space. Maybe that was the awkward part, and the dinner itself wasn't awkward.
I mean, unless somebody was like, where's that mac and cheese that I love so much?
But Grandma didn't mention it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have nothing else to add to that story.
Okay,
Yeah.
next story.
All right. A few years ago, my brother and I were tasked with making centerpieces for the Thanksgiving table. Honestly, we made really beautiful pieces, primarily featuring faux leaves. Cool.
Cool.
Well,
Great.
during dinner, real candles were used in the center of them, resulting in mini fires all along the tables. Sounds beautiful. Halfway
would've
through
happened-
dinner. Oh, wait. Halfway through dinner. That was the end of that sentence.
Oh,
Nothing like a bunch of incinerated fake leaves to make you realize you fucked up big time.
wouldn't the same have happened with real leaves?
Very much so.
Like, so why
I think
point out that
what
they're
you,
faux?
yeah, I think the problem was putting candles amongst flammable objects.
Yeah, they should have used some of those battery-operated, fake candles.
Yeah, that would have been better. Or, just
taller
don't
candles.
put the candles in with a bunch of shit that can catch fire. Like, that's just common fire etiquette. If you're going to have an open flame,
Don't. Common fire etiquette is if you want to have fire, don't have flammable stuff.
don't have flammable stuff like near the flame.
But that's how you make fire and maintain fire.
Yeah, but not,
Are you talking about
not
candles?
if you're having
fire
a
in
candle.
general?
Yeah, a candle is an open flame.
Yes.
Yeah, so
But
if you're going to
but-
have a candle, you don't need the other things to have the flame going. Then, in that sense, the candle's going to do the job. So either don't use the candles, or just have candles as centerpieces.
But they're not as beautiful as faux leaves, Matt.
Well, then
They could have had candles with leaves etched into the sides
That-
of them.
Yep, that's doable.
But they're not artistic particularly like that.
Yeah. I like how it's
Mhm.
resulting in mini fires all along the tables. It's like, well, once you see one start going up in flame, wouldn't you be like, oh, let's make sure we put all these candles out before they all burst into flames? No, let's just let all of them ignite.
Well, because it happened simultaneously. It all happened at exactly the same time.
Apparently.
All right. Number 8. Don't yawn. This is so awesome.
I wasn't. Yeah.
Oh, don't baby lion roar. Anyway, number 8, we refer to this as the Thanksgiving from hell.
Oh, it's probably not going to be that bad.
There were mini fires. I was sleeping on the floor. House was full of relatives, and I woke
I
up. And I woke up to my. Why did you read this one already?
No, I was.
I know.
It says
I know. And I woke up to my aunt screaming bloody murder from the bathroom. She was taking a shower. What? In the middle of the night when everyone's asleep on the floor? Anyway.
No, it just that she was sleeping on the floor, or this person was sleeping on the floor. It doesn't necessarily mean it was the middle of the night.
Could have been the food coma, tryptophan,
Yeah.
turkey. Okay, where am I? She was taking a shower and the plumbing backed up through the tub.
Gross.
It was quite literally shitty water. We had to
What?
shut the
Hold on.
water off. What?
What is that? What that they say that like that's a common phrase. Is shitty water a common phrase that everybody says? Oh, I'm in shitty water now.
Well, I say it all the time whenever I can't. When I have to buy like the generic bottled water when I can't
Right.
get Dasani or Ice
Or
Mountain.
the good and gather like I have.
No, that's the generic kind. Oh, what shitty water you're drinking.
Oh, shitty
you
water.
stole that from me. Why'd you steal my shitty water?
Oh, it tastes like poo-poo.
Oh, gross. Scream bloody murder now.
Bloody murder!
Yes, right in line. We had to shut the water off and finish the cooking at several different neighbors' houses. To make matters worse, the cooking couldn't continue? Anyway.
Well,
once things are cooking, you don't need the water anymore. They must have needed water to prep. They were in the prepping stage.
I mean, you can
maybe
get water from your neighbors without having to cook at their house.
That would have been much easier and smarter.
Unless all of their cooking like appliances are like run from a boiler.
Oh, that would be disgusting. Although it'd be sanitized.
Right, but it's like, yeah, unless you had to shut off your gas and your electric as well, you should still be able to cook.
Look, all of the food was pre-made and frozen, and they had them all of it resting in lukewarm water in the sink to start to thaw before they heated it back up.
Well, then if they already had the water in the sink, they should be fine.
But it is now shitty water, Matt.
Because the water coming out of the pipes is still fine. It's the water that's backing up through the drains that's bad.
Yes,
so even so shutting off the water to me doesn't seem like that would have had to be a thing that happened. It's the sewers backing up. It's not the water backing up.
No, they didn't have to shut off the water at all.
I'm starting to think this story doesn't make sense. I'm
starting to think that this story is shitty water, which is a common expression.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because my whole point was I was trying to say that, let's say the food was thawing in the sink, and that also began to get backed up with shitty water. Then they would need to go and resume cooking at their neighbors' houses.
Either way, they shouldn't have to cook at their
sense.
neighbors' houses.
No. To make matters worse, we couldn't reach a plumber until the following Monday. My uncle was staying at a hotel and wouldn't let a single one of us use his room to use the bathroom or to shower. Wow, what a nice guy.
Yeah.
We had to take carloads of family members to the literal gas station.
Oh.
Why do you have to say literal gas station?
Yeah. I would have assumed that you meant gas station if you just said gas station.
This must have been written by a youth. Okay, to use the bathroom. So I went back to college all gross from days of no showering. Turns out the plumbing issue was a citywide problem, and they had to... Well, then all their neighbors would have been affected too, and they couldn't have resumed cooking at their neighbors' houses.
Interesting.
Okay, it's a citywide problem, and they had to excavate the entire street in front of our house. So the whole ordeal was expensive, messy, and left such a scar on my family that none of my relatives have been invited back since.
Why? It's not their fault.
Yeah, the only person I maybe wouldn't invite back was the mean uncle who wouldn't let them use the bathroom in his hotel room. We have I can understand if they were all invited back, but they didn't go. Like, we're not going to have Thanksgiving there anymore. I don't know. We have small, immediate family-only Thanksgivings now, and they are so much better. So is the problem the family? Like, you ultimately also just had a problem with your family?
Yeah. Is there something in this story that they're either leaving out or they've changed it to not make people look bad? And what actually happened was the aunt was taking a shower and then took a shit in the shower. Tried to blame it on the plumbing,
but then
so they went through all this stuff.
Then you would just not invite the aunt back. Maybe it's the same. Maybe you think that's a couple. The aunt is the one shat in the shower, and then the uncle was not letting them use the hotel room. Like those are
maybe it was some big plot. Like they just planned this whole thing of like, all right, you're gonna go there, you're gonna shit in the shower.
Yeah, we're gonna affect the whole city
so that they can't use their bathroom, and then when they try to come use ours, we'll tell them no go, it's not happening.
Yeah, we're going to make them all stink.
Yeah, it's like some big conspiracy that they're putting together to try to make the family stinky on Thanksgiving for some reason.
So that means that like does that mean everyone citywide was not able to shower after that we can only assume that hopefully everything got fixed by Monday. But
it didn't. They had to excavate the fucking street.
Maybe they got all that done in a day. on Monday.
It's very
Hopefully.
doubtful. They probably wouldn't even get it dug up in a day.
Well, they said it was expensive, not slow.
It was expensive, messy, and left a sour scar in the family.
Yeah, no, none of that says slow.
I said sour scar. It didn't leave a sour scar. I added
you
that
added
word.
an adjective, you wealthy jerk.
It left such a scar.
I
don't believe this story. I mean, here's the thing. I tend to not believe any of these stories, really.
Look, the other ones,
this one in particular is pretty hard to believe.
I was on board with 1 through 7. I had no reason to question any of them.
All right, we're going to move on.
We are. That's what we're good at.
Back when I was a kid, I thought it would be a funny prank to put a rubber chicken in the oven on Thanksgiving. Cool. My mom would laugh and laugh. Ho, 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 there's a rubber chicken in the oven. What a gag. 13-year-old me didn't realize that normal adults usually preheat the oven before putting the turkey in. Also, not part of the story, but normal adults typically will still check to make sure there's nothing in the oven prior to preheating it. So your parents are idiots. I always check my oven even though I don't, because here's the thing. Some people store like pots and pans in their ovens.
Yes. Yes.
I don't do that, but I still will pop the oven open, make sure I don't have anything in there before I preheat it.
Yeah, I haven't thought to do that.
Yeah.
I just turn on the preheat. Never failed me yet.
Well, one of these days,
I think,
who knows, your dog might have got in there. Your kid might be playing in there for some reason.
I am, where was I? What are we talking about? What's going on?
Preheating oven.
Oh yeah. Was this like written in the 30s? A rubber chicken, and then there's a rubber chicken in the oven. What a gag!
Yeah.
Also, this says back when I was a kid, I thought this would be funny. So that means during his entire childhood, he has a constant thought.
But here's the other thing: this story, he doesn't say that he actually did this. He's just saying that back when I was a kid, I thought it would be funny. He might have never done it.
Yeah, it doesn't say that he did it.
Yeah.
And then
he's just stating that 13-year-old him didn't realize that adults usually preheat the oven. So he may have made that realization later as an adult too, being like, oh, good thing I didn't do that.
Yeah. Back when I was 13.
Also, his mother has a very strange laugh.
Ho, ho, ho. I know.
Yeah. There's only one other person in this lifetime that I know, in the world that I know that has that type of a laugh.
John Wilkes Booth. All right.
Well, that was short and sweet.
Yeah, great. Story number 10. This was back in the 80s.
Oh,
AKA no Google. That's what we call it, right,
that's what
Matt?
we called it. That's what we called the 80s. No Google. Gosh, it was really weird when Google came out because we're like, oh, shit.
Yeah. Whoa. How did we know? Do you remember the No Google Olympics? We finished our Thanksgiving.
Also known as No Google. That's so funny to me.
I think these people, whoever's writing these, doesn't know how to write anything, and they misuse terms and phrases all the time, like AKA no Google.
They've literally just discovered written language.
This is AI.
I think AI would do better.
So we finished our Thanksgiving dinner, and everyone was cleaning up. Somehow, a button broke off of the dishwasher. My grandfather grabbed some super glue to fix it. He ended up gluing his hand, some super glue. He ended up gluing his hand to the door of the dishwasher. The adults tried to free him, to no avail. So my father had to quite literally dismantle the dishwasher door with his father's hand superglued to the front of it. He carried the door, with my grandfather attached, to the back of our station wagon and brought the conjoined duo to our local emergency room. I
just imagine the grandfather's just hanging from the door as he's carrying it, just like attached to it. Because he carried the door with my grandfather attached,
just dragging on the ground.
Don't forget to mention my grandfather had not the use of his legs.
Oh, why is he trying to fix the button then? Oh, he's at the right height. Yeah. To the back of our station wagon and brought the conjoined duo to our local emergency room. They waited for several hours only to be set free by a nurse who happened to have nail polish remover in her locker.
Oh, well, nobody else had nail polish remover?
Does that work on super glue?
I if we are to believe this story.
Are we? Are we to believe this story?
I don't know. What, did you like the way I worded that?
Of course. No.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that might be true. The nail polish remover thing might be true. But if that's, I don't know, it seems weird that they had to wait for several hours and then the nurse is like, "Oh, how long have you been waiting? Have you been waiting the mandatory several hours?"
Yeah. This is the ER.
Did you pay your copay? Okay, let me go grab the nail polish remover. We'll have you right out of here.
That's what's important.
Yeah.
Not ending your suffering. Hanging grandpa
from the oven that now nobody can use. I guess they were already done. They were cleaning up.
Oh, that oven door might have been. This was the dishwasher door.
Oh, was it? Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, they couldn't.
I would say they would have had to have waited for the oven door to cool off before they could even remove it, and then
right. What an old school dishwasher that has buttons that like come out like that you can super glue back on.
Yeah, I mean this was the 80s.
Oh yeah, it was during no Google.
Yeah, remember?
I forgot this happened during no Google.
It was the no Google era.
What an unnecessary what an unnecessary part of the story, by the way. AKA no Google.
No, it's really important because they couldn't just look up what can help remove super glue.
I suppose. Like, is that the point of mentioning it? That they couldn't have figured that out on their own?
It is a good thing that without Google, that the dad was able to dismantle the dishwasher door.
Yeah, he couldn't even look up how to do it. He just knew.
He just knew.
It was a different time in the 80s. We just knew how to do stuff back then.
I mean, there was a drawer full of owner's manuals.
It was the junk drawer that had all the owner's manuals and a bunch of screwdrivers and like keychains and
Ask Jeeves.
Twist ties. There was always twist ties.
Oh yeah. Well, you needed those for your garbage bags.
Yeah.
And to reclose the bag that the loaf of bread was in. When you could just twist it shut and then like put the twisty part underneath the bottom of the loaf of bread to hold it there.
Or even just put the little plastic piece back on it that it comes with.
Well, this is the 80s, so bread was kept in a bread box.
Was it? I don't think I've ever had a bread box.
Well, you sure wrote about it like you do. Or like you did.
No, I did not write about a bread box specifically, Sean. I wrote about a rock tumbler that was roughly the size of a bread box.
I'm well aware.
Yes. If I ever find that story, I'll read it on here. It's awful.
You'll burn it.
Story I wrote in college, and it's god awful. Back when I thought I had a misconception of how funny I thought I was. All right.
It's now translated into this show.
Yep. All right. About 2 years ago, we had my mom's brother and his family over for Thanksgiving. I love them. So sweet and so funny, but they were very secretive within their own family and never ever shared personal details with each other. We do this thing, like many families do, where we go around the dinner table and say what we're thankful for. Completely normal. To say that,
I don't do that.
To say the words completely normal in the story makes it seem like it's not. All right.
This is normal human behavior, I know. As a human
this is what
myself.
Humans do, correct? After a few too many glasses of wine, my uncle decided to share how grateful he was for the nurses in the hospital that took care of my aunt when she had a heart attack a few weeks before Thanksgiving. But none of my cousins knew she had a heart attack or that she was even taking medication for it. They literally do not know their own mother had a heart attack because they don't share information like that. That's fucked.
Stuff like that at this family probably happens all the time then. So I'm not sure what would be the significance of this horror story of Thanksgiving.
Yeah. It would just be like, it's another piece of information we didn't know about our own family.
Yep.
And this is how we find out.
When we say them. Hey, this one's probably the shortest one there is.
Probably. It's literally one sentence.
I remember one Thanksgiving when everyone was crazy drunk and fighting. period. Next sentence.
Sorry.
I literally
I realized
escaped
that-
through the. I literally escaped through the bedroom window and drove away with an entire pie. Happy ending. Wait, so they went to a massage parlor after that?
Yeah, wait, they jerked off the pie, or
Wait a minute. Yeah, did the pie get the happy ending,
yeah.
or did the person use the pie to obtain a happy ending?
Also, there's so much more that could be to this story. Like, you leave out the best part of the crazy drunk fighting. Like,
which is the crazy drunk fighting. Describe the crazy drunk fighting.
Yeah.
Good thing they literally escaped through their window and not figuratively.
I think it's through the bedroom window to state that is there literally only one bedroom.
Who cares? The point is that they, again,
And who is everyone?
Everyone but this one person, I suppose.
Yeah, is this the entire world? Everybody in the entire world
all
is
they
crazy
said,
drunk and fighting?
They're only referring to themselves in like the first person, so we don't know. Is this the grandpa? Is this the mom? Is this one of the kids? Is this? I mean, they drove away, so hopefully it's someone that's at least 16 years old. But who is this person? Or
it's a little kid and he was on a Power Wheels.
Yeah, stole a whole pie.
Yeah.
Hopefully the bedroom window was on the main level.
So I literally escaped out my bedroom window and fell to my death.
Yeah.
Luckily, the pie broke my fall.
fell on the pie, had a happy ending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Next story. My husband was an only child of divorced parents. The end. No, I'm just kidding. His father loved me, but his mother couldn't stand me. To be clear, the woman couldn't stand anybody. She was a horrible person. Was? Oh, is she dead?
So then, she's dead. So why point it out like it's a personal thing against you at first?
Yeah. Yeah. On this particular Thanksgiving, we'd been married about 6 years. Well, which is about? It's either you are or aren't. Anyways. My mother-in-law cooked a nice turkey dinner and we sat down to eat, as most people do. We filled our plates. You filled your plates after you sat down to eat? I'm picking up the weird parts of the story for no reason.
I think you're really trying here. I think they had all the food at the table to be served, like in serving dishes, and then you sit down. Then you.
I guess I'm more used to like a buffet style where all the food
lunch lines.
Yeah.
So am I.
We filled our plates, and I had one forkful of food in my mouth when my husband asked my mother-in-law what she would like for Christmas. My mother-in-law looked directly at me, pointed her fork at my face, and said, "Well, I don't know why you bother asking me, because since you married her, you never buy me what I want anyway." My husband put his fork down on his plate very carefully, stood up, and said, "Fine, then you don't need her sitting at your dining room table. We're leaving." And we got up and left Thanksgiving dinner. It took her 2 entire days to call and apologize. It's a long phone call. Yes.
Finally something funny happened.
Yay! I did it.
All right. That was okay. I gotta give you that one. That was hour and 14 minutes to get to that.
I think it only worked because it was quick.
It was. It was a long fool. Anyway, all right. I don't know. These stories are all the same. People are idiots and they don't know how to act, and so it ruins everyone's experience. That's just what we can take away from all these stories.
I think what it comes down to is
families are complicated.
Well, let's say the worst thing about Thanksgiving is spending time with your family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're all pressured into doing it.
Right.
Or not that we always succumb to that pressure, but that's just the pressure. You're supposed to gather with your family on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
For some reason.
And you know what pressure does?
It builds.
It makes diamonds.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Okay. My mother and grandmother had restaurant reservations for Thanksgiving last year, but very last minute, My sister somehow convinced them to go somewhere else. Of course, this means no reservations, but my sister is convinced that it'll be fine, and they might just have to wait a few minutes for a table. Mind you, I live in another state, so I get to experience what I'm about to tell from a distance.
Oh.
They end up sitting at the bar while waiting for a table and have a few drinks and apps. After the second round of martinis, my mother looks over and my grandmother is leaning back in her chair, completely limp and unresponsive.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone freaks out. Paramedics are called, and Grandma is rushed to the ER. I'm 1,200 miles away and with really strong binoculars.
Because I got to experience this from a distance.
When my mother calls to tell me what happened. At this point, Grandma is at the ER, still unresponsive, with crazy low blood pressure and a very high heart rate. I'm ready to book plane tickets and rush to the airport when Mom calls back and says, "Don't worry, everything's okay. Your grandmother just got drunk. Her blood test came back completely drunk." No. Completely normal, except for a BAC, which is blood alcohol content, of 0.24.
Well, that's not normal.
No, that's not coming back normal. 3 times
normal,
the legal
except
limit.
this really bad thing.
Yeah, which could kill her.
Yeah.
3 times the legal limit. My grandma is 90 years old, about 4'8" and 100 pounds. She hadn't eaten anything all day because she knew they were having a big dinner. She also ordered another martini while no one was looking, so the second martini was actually her third.
I mean, she's lucky not to be dead. 3 times the legal limit is pretty rough, especially at 90 years old and 100 pounds and 4'8". She's legally a little person.
Would you agree that it would take less alcohol for her blood alcohol level to reach 0.24 than, say, someone larger?
Probably, yeah. And on an empty stomach, she'd be getting drunk pretty quick.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I'd say she's pretty lucky to be alive if this is a real story. And also, you're 1,200 miles away. What do you think? You're going to get there in time to save her? Like, what's your goal here?
And what I know, and here's the message back, though. Don't worry. Grandma's still unresponsive, but she's way past the legal legal limit of blood alcohol level. So she's going to be fine.
Right. It's like saying, like, hey, look, don't worry. Don't rush out here.
Grandma's just on her deathbed.
Her blood came back normal, except she's insanely drunk. She's dead, but her blood came back normal.
Yeah, don't worry. She doesn't have some kind of disease.
She fucking pickled herself, but she's fine.
That's silly. What a silly grandma.
All right. This next one starts off hot. Coming in hot on this next story. Being the gay Martha Stewart wannabe that I am. What is that? Hold on. Oh, like Martha wants to be like what Martha Stewart does, not like
yes.
I'm gay and want to be Martha Stewart. He's gay and wants to be like Martha Stewart. I hosted Thanksgiving for years. Dutifully prepared everything from scratch. It was successful. This starts off immediately of just brag.
It was stressful, is what he said.
What? Oh,
you said it was successful, but it was stressful.
Wow,
which isn't.
Never mind. I take back everything I said about this person. It was stressful. I guess I wanted it to be something else.
I was great at it.
Yeah, I was amazing. I mean, it was said for years, so I just assumed.
You'd think you'd be all right at it, you know?
Yeah.
You'd get the rhythms down.
So one year I told my older sister that it was her turn to do it for once. She glibly mentioned how easy it was and gave me a passing glance that I took to be a dig. Next thing you know, her husband is carving the cooked turkey and he feels something strange. Lo and behold, he reaches into the neck cavity. Why the neck cavity? Why wouldn't you reach into like the body cavity part that's always open? All right. And pulls out a bag containing the neck, liver, and giblets that was clearly never removed. My sister looks at me and asks, "What's that?" How was I supposed to know that was in there? We all laughed hysterically, and I gave her a very self-satisfied grin. I will never let her live that one down. Ha 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 ha. What a moron.
Martha Stewart would never have let this happen.
Yeah, here's the thing. Though she forgot the bag full of all the entrails and stuff in there,
yeah,
it seems like the rest of it still went very fine for her, so I think it's still kind of a win.
Yeah, the food was still prepared perfectly, all edible. No one got sick. I think that she still has the right to brag, I think.
I think so.
And this is very, this move is very un-Martha Stewart-like to give the responsibilities of preparing Thanksgiving dinner to someone else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you want to be more like Martha Stewart, you got to do some hard time.
Yeah, you got to be a strict money launderer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's what she did.
It was something along those lines.
Yeah. All right. My grandmother. Oh, maybe that's what it was. Let's trade our insides. My grandmother ran over herself with her SUV. All right. Speaking of stories coming in hot, I was on my way to the Thanksgiving festivities when it happened. So I don't know the exact details, but I do know that she was getting food out from the back of her car, put it in neutral instead of park, which, okay.
These are the exact details.
Yeah, you're right. And it slowly ran her over.
I don't know the exact details, but let me detail it out for you exactly.
Well, she doesn't know which hand she used to set it into neutral. I mean, if you're not in England, you're going to be using your right hand to operate that. Anyway, where was I? Slowly ran her over. The craziest part is that my family, all inside, didn't notice until they heard a bump against the house. Does the driveway go down toward the house?
Possibly.
It could. The SUV made 3 loops before hitting the house. What?
I think Grandpa was driving the SUV.
Yeah, and ran Grandma over 3 times. She ended up being totally fine, just with a BAC of 0.24. But she's obviously not allowed to go outside alone during the holidays anymore, as if any other time of year, you're like, yeah, okay, it's fine. It's not the holidays. You can properly
she can't
operate
possibly
a vehicle.
run over herself if it's not a holiday.
Yeah, I know. This story is now an "oh grandma" moment in our family.
Your family sucks.
Yeah.
Oh grandma could have been dead from running over herself.
So now every time someone dies and they have to have a funeral, they call it an "oh grandma" moment.
Yeah. Anytime somebody gets run over by a car,
Ugh.
Oh grandma,
but only around the holidays. It's only an old grandma. If
like
it's somebody's
crossing the street that they're not related to, just gets fucking destroyed by a car. They're just like, oh grandma.
Yeah.
By the time grandma got ran over, that person looks dead.
You shouldn't.
That's gruesome.
Yeah, you should have crossed the street you weren't related to.
Yeah, that's what you get for crossing the street on the holidays. I always hate stories that do that thing of just like, I don't know what really happened, and then just fucking lay it all out for you. It's like,
yeah. The time was 4:33 p.m.
Yeah.
She was wearing a polka dot dress.
Grandma had eaten exactly 4 pretzels.
In a row.
Without dip. When my husband was a kid, they traded off on hosting Thanksgivings between his mom and her sisters. One year, they all showed up to his aunt's house, and after an hour of appetizers and small talk, his dad commented that he couldn't smell the turkey cooking. That's when my husband's aunt revealed that they were having fondue for dinner because she doesn't like turkey. No joke. Every single person left, including his aunt who was making the fondue.
She didn't leave.
That's a dumb story.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
I agree.
Now it's an oh grandma moment in our family.
Oh aunt. Let's see. My dad had an allergic reaction to shrimp cocktail before dinner. After dinner, it was gone. And his face blew up. He refused
to... what a mess.
Exploded face. Oh, Dad. He refused to come out of the kitchen or sit at the table with us. He was just eating his food in the kitchen and trying to act like things were totally normal. Like yelling out, "Hey, good mashed potatoes this year, huh?" More like, "Huh." Blown up face.
Right.
Meanwhile, my mom is angry crying at the table, telling us to just eat our fucking food that she worked all day on. I have a question.
Yeah.
Why are those our and she in brackets?
I believe they're words that get exchanged from the story to make it, depending on where this story was pulled from, it might have had a different word there that didn't, like, from the perspective. I don't know if it's a perspective change to make it more cohesive.
Okay. Because I see these in like news articles and stuff all the time, and I never understood, like whenever it's like an interview portion, especially when they're quoting people.
Yeah.
It always, I never knew what it meant. And I always
think it's
wondered,
for context sometimes, because if there's a different, like, especially like in an interview, if there's a different part of the interview that it kind of references back to, it might not make sense if that's not part of the quote that they use. So they put the different words in there to make it make sense, because it's out of context of the rest of the story.
But is this to say that in real life the person said just eat fucking food that worked all day on?
No, I guess I don't know why. I don't know in this context why it would be there.
But that's what types of words are put in brackets in these articles that I've seen.
Yeah.
It seems like I'm always like, did the person in real life not say that, and then so they put it in there so the sentence makes sense? I don't understand. Anyway, all of us kids are just very scared and very, very confused. My sister starts crying because things are so weird and no one wants to eat because there is so much tension. Eventually, my mom convinces my dad that she needs to take him to the ER. My high school senior brother took the bottle of wine and shared it with seventh
grade me. We're establishing ages without establishing the ages.
Got it.
Could have just said my 18-year-old brother.
Okay, so the mom and dad go to the ER. Yep. My brother took out the bottle of wine and shared it with 7th grade me and got me drunk for the first time. My parents came home from the ER to me throwing up on the bathroom floor.
Well, you almost made it.
It's weird that they turned that into a story about the 7th grader getting drunk for the first time.
Yeah.
When it wasn't just about the dad's face, like the reaction to the shrimp and then having to get brought to the ER. Anyway, I don't know. It seemed like it was two separate stories. It's like they slapped the end of a different story onto the end of this story.
Yeah, maybe that's why there was some brackets around those words, because it was two different stories and they had to make it make sense.
I don't know. I don't know.
My mom dominated the Thanksgiving dinner conversation for a solid 45 minutes about how everyone should be drinking their pee. She read in some yoga book about how it cures some infection called Bali belly that you get in places like, you guessed it, Bali, but stressed that it's actually just really helpful for all sorts of shit. She went way into detail about how you have to catch it midstream in the first pee of the morning, blah, blah, blah. By the end, she was defending it so thoroughly that she said she was going to start tomorrow morning. She never did, and now she denies the conversation lasted more than 5 minutes, but insists that everyone was egging her on.
Okay.
Yeah.
What a pointless story.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's close it out with story number 20. My sister and I tend to play fight and roughhouse, even as grown-ass adults, and we always take it way too far. We were both competitive fighters, so it wasn't hair-pulling or the like. It was chokeholds and grappling. Since we weren't allowed to close hand punch or kick each other, you were able to forehand punch?
Why weren't you allowed to do that, but you're allowed to do all the other shit?
Yeah,
who's not allowing you? Who's not
Yeah,
allowing you
what?
to close hand punch people?
The parents who are like facilitating
Yeah, like,
these
look,
fights.
you guys can wrestle and choke each
Look.
other out, but no punching, no kicking.
You know the rules. Keep it above the belt. Let's have a good fight.
Yep.
It was chokehold. Okay, wait. One Thanksgiving, when we were both in our late teens, she came out of nowhere and shoved me onto the floor and into the pantry. I being kind of pissed, chased after her and double leg takedown her into the whole damn collapsible table full of Thanksgiving food. She goes flying, the food goes flying, and we get cussed out for a good 20 minutes straight.
This is definitely the parents' fault for letting this kind of behavior continue.
Yeah, they should put a harsh stop to this, otherwise there'll be dire consequences.
Also, so hold on.
They're rambunctious teens, Matt. They're going to do what they want.
So but the start of the story says even as grown-ass adults. So they play, fight, and roughhouse even as grown-ass adults. So they're saying that this other story, that's the story that they are talking about where they fucked up the table, happened in their late teens before they were grown-ass adults. So they didn't learn from this experience. They continue to do this dumb shit behavior.
Right.
And somehow are still not allowed to close hand punch or kick each other, even as grown-ass adults.
Well, once the family got their good 20-minute cussing out, then it was all good. They had a nice time after that.
Apparently.
Hey, at least it's not a story where the ending is like, and they never looked at me the same again.
Yeah, I think there was only one story that was kind of had that sort of. There's a couple of they'll never let that go. But other than that, I don't know. So, hey, once again, the internet delivers some awful stories. I think we're par for course here on just absolute internet trash.
Are we part of the problem? Because we are like bringing attention to this and having it reach more people.
To a small extent, maybe. Because I'm not telling people where to find this shit, so they can't go look for it themselves. So these sites aren't getting additional.
Well, we have like in the example of scarymommy.com.
Yeah, well, everybody needs to go to scarymommy.com.
Not arguing that. I'm totally on board with that. I mean, I suppose I was about. Anyway, never mind. I guess. These are going to exist. It's like you said. It's just like the whole it's like the whole turkey thing. Just because if we start refusing to read this, that doesn't mean there's going to be any less of it on the internet.
Right. And I think if I tried harder, I'd probably be able to find like actually good, funny stories. If I actually took the time to actually look individually and not just find a pre-built list of crap to read. But I don't do that because I'm lazy, and I literally, found these stories probably 20 minutes before we started recording. So maybe literally, potentially literally.
Well, Matt, this has been a great year for Thanksgiving stories.
I thought you were going to end it for Thanksgiving. It's been a great year for Thanksgiving this year.
Thanksgiving has had a big year.
Yeah, it had a big year. Lot just really out there doing its thing.
Margins are up,
scoring points, making the big plays.
Thanksgiving made the big plays this year.
Yeah. The big plates.
I hope all of you get. I hope all of you have Thanksgiving on your fantasy holiday team.
I just like to end the episodes on a big old bummer.
Well, the whole thing was.
Oh, there was like one joke. There was one good joke in there.
But anyway, I hope you all have a great Thanksgiving, and don't spend it with your families because we all know that doesn't turn out well. Yep. And see you next turkey.
That's not how we do this.
See you next turkey. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. You put the wrong. Yeah, that's what I was worried about. The emphasis.
Yeah. Well, bye.
You want to finish that sentence? No? Okay. Well, this is awkward.
If you have a question, complaint, or threat for Sean or Matt, you can reach us on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram at hsfamouspod. Or you can email the show at highschoolfamous@gmail.com. No animals were pleasured during the making of this podcast, despite our best efforts. All hail our Lord and Savior.
Ronald Martin Popeil.